Sports Talk with Sam Jordan on the air with you on this Wednesday night, Hump Night. Final one of 2017, and we're glad to have you along wherever you may be, whether it's here in Chattanooga or in the Tennessee Valley or wherever you are. Listening in on NoogaRadio.com, and we're on YouTube. A little bit of a Facebook issue here tonight, but we apologize. And if you've got something you want to talk about sports related, well, you can always call in at 423-800-8949. 949. We'll be more than glad to take your phone calls in regards to it. And hopefully you've had a good vacation break here with the Christmas holiday. I'm very glad that I did not have to go up to Erie, Pennsylvania. As you've heard throughout the last several days, Erie got pounded with a lot of snow. And in fact, they got around 2 feet on Christmas Day. And it's still been snowing. They're expecting another 4 to 8 tonight. They've already got over 60 inches of snow on the ground up there. And fortunately, my two youngest boys and their mother were able to make it back up to their home just outside of Erie. Took them a little longer than they were anticipating, because when you've got that snow belt like there is, Erie, you got to understand, Erie is right at sea level. I mean, as far as with the Great Lakes and everything. But when you go outside of Erie and then go up and go south and north and east, you kind of get into the snow belt. So if Erie is getting the brunt of this storm, there's no telling how the outer areas and up toward Buffalo and over toward Warren, PA, Jamestown, New York, and down to where they live at in the Corey area, where I used to own a radio station there, how much snow that they've got. Now, I've seen a lot of Facebook posts from my friends in the Corey area where they are still trying to get dug out. I know some single moms that I've worked with the Erie Explosion, the indoor football team, where they've been saying, can you help me? Trying to get dug out so they can just walk to work. And it's just, I'm very thankful. I mean, everybody down here are not used to snow. I mean, where I lived at, up in the Erie area, we were easily to get 150 inches of snow in a year, in a season. But I guess they are getting the wrath of it right now. So they got over 60 inches of snow on the ground up there. And, whether or not some of my friends are listening or watching on YouTube or what, I'm hoping that they are okay in that quest to get through that debacle that's going on. And, the interstates up there with Interstate 79, Interstate 86, and Interstate 90 that all encompass around the Erie area, pretty much been shut down. So, it has not been an easy time for people to get around and head to Pittsburgh or head to Cleveland or Youngstown, Buffalo, or Jamestown, New York, or any of the northern reaches of northwestern Pennsylvania. So, but, life goes on. We get to enjoy the 30 and 40 degree temperatures that maybe even a little 50s once in a while, but it's been blustery a little bit. If you notice, I generally do not wear a coat unless it is like really, really cold, because, my body's been used to it. But it just seems like, and I haven't been sick, I haven't had the sniffles or anything like that, but it's just down here, it just seems like it's a little bit more of a bone-chilling cold than what you probably are typically used to. Now, everybody you look at down here has got coats on, parkas, and the such, and it's like, it's not that cold. mean, I've been used to it being below zero and stuff. And when it gets to around 10, 15, 20 degrees, yeah, I'll stick a coat on just to kind of keep that chill off. But, I kind of laugh and jest with friends and saying, like, what's wrong with you people down here? But you know what? I mean, I'll eventually get back into that. A lot of sports action going on with bowl games, for a lot of college football, still trying to finish up things. And I know that there's several bowl games going on today. I think there's 3 or 4 games that are going on today. The New Era Pinstripe Bowl is going on. Also, I forget what it is offhand. I had it in my notes, and I thought I grabbed it, but maybe I didn't. But I've been mentioning, in the sportscast and stuff that you've been hearing throughout the day. And, there's, I think, 5 games that are going on tomorrow. So, you should be able to stay up to date with what's been going on in that. Tennessee still has the possibility of getting a couple more recruits from the early signing period that's going on. And, of course, the national signing day coming up in February. And that's where some of these players are just kind of waiting. They're not being too overzealous in making their decisions and stuff, for this 2018 season that'll be here before you know it. J.J. Peterson, linebacker, he's favored to sign with either Tennessee or Alabama coming up on February 7th. And according to analysis by some of the national recruiting services out there, he's a very important linebacker that would help any program. And of course, Tennessee's looking at trying to get their program back into the prominent spotlight that, it's been known for. 98 was their last national championship year. Oh, here I found it. So, it's just one of those things where Tennessee, with Coach Jeremy Pruitt, trying to bring in some quality players. And, it's just, it's taking some time. But he's been able to maintain a fair amount of recruits with Butch Davis, what he had put together prior to being dismissed in November. And, it's just some of those recruits that Tennessee was able to sign here prior to the Christmas break, coming through. And now Tennessee and other schools like Tennessee are also hitting the junior college recruiting scene and trying to snarf up some of those big recruits that could really get a team started in the right direction, like a Tennessee volunteer program or the Arkansas Razorbacks or Mississippi State or Ole Miss in itself, and LSU, programs that have been down a little bit, and they're trying to get things turned around. But here is those games. There are 4 of them on tap for today. Southern Mississippi taking on Florida State in the Independence Bowl. The New Era Pinstripe Bowl being played at Yankee Stadium in New York City has Iowa and Boston College. I can remember when the New Era Pinstripe Bowl first came about, Penn State was in that, and I believe against Boston College. They always try to have a Northeast area team in that bowl. And the Big Ten usually fills in with their opponent. Foster Farms Bowl has Arizona at Purdue. That's later on this evening. And the Texas Bowl, which will be an interesting game. Texas and Missouri battling it out. I'm not for sure where they're exactly playing that. I don't have my other notebook here that gives us the location of that, but I'm assuming somewhere in the Dallas Metroplex area. But the Foster Farms Bowl, not sure where that one's at. There's so many bowl games out there. I think they've kind of just overdid it. There's 47 bowl games, I think, is the number. Yesterday, the Heart of Dallas Bowl had Utah defeating West Virginia University 30-14. Now, Utah, I mean, is not a team that you normally hear in the ranks of the high-profile NCAA football programs. West Virginia, on the other hand, the Mountaineers, they've done very well in the past. But Utah just seemed like they were firing on all cylinders and was able to take care of business, and the Utes defeated the Mountaineers. Quick Lane Bowl had Duke defeating Northern Illinois 36-14. That was kind of a yawn of a bowl. Duke's ACC, Northern Illinois, I believe, is in the MAC. The Cactus Bowl had Kansas State defeating UCLA 35-17. That would have been an interesting contest. UCLA, I thought, would have been a little bit more proactive in that game, but it is what it is, and that's why we have bowl games. So, still a lot more games to go. Like I said, there's 5 that are slated for tomorrow. There's a couple more the day after on Friday, and I think Saturday has a few. And then January 1st, everybody's looking forward to the national semifinals with Alabama, Ohio State, Georgia, and did I get them all? No, I'm missing one. But anyway, the big 4, the final 4, coming up on January 1st, and then a week later, the national championship game will be taking place in Atlanta. So, national championship not being too far away. I know I'm looking forward to the 31st, seeing Penn State at the Fiesta Bowl. Hopefully they'll do very well. The Razorbacks did make a bowl game, just like the Volunteers did make a bowl game. But those people that wear that red and white, I'm telling you, Georgia, they're looking forward to that big game. Don't forget, coming up tonight after the World News Roundup, The Clutch with Keon Rose. And he'll keep you entertained, informed, and educated all at the same time with his view on sports. Remember, 423-800-8949 is the phone number to call here on Sports Talk with Sam Jordan. Well, almost 90% of all NASCAR teams are based in the Charlotte, North Carolina area. There have been numerous rumors spreading throughout about the potential of certain NASCAR stakeholders having interest in buying the Carolina Panthers. Yes, that is the NFL team. It's based there in Charlotte. Early 2016, Bruton Smith, executive chairman of Speedway Motorsports Incorporated, expressed possible interest in having Panthers ownership. However, a spokesperson for the Smith family declined comment for discussing interest in ownership of the franchise when Richardson announced selling the franchise. Now, over the last week, Felix Sabates' name has risen as a possible buyer for the Panthers. Sabates currently has minority ownership in Chip Ganassi Racing in a minority ownership role in the Charlotte Hornets, the region's National Basketball Association franchise. Sabates is currently spearheading a team of investors to go in and buy Richardson's stake in the Panthers, according to the local news. The group of investors is made up of business professionals who live in the Charlotte area that have a major presence within the city. They're not looking to make money. They're looking for appreciation long term, Sabates said. For us, staying in this community, staying in this TV market is very important. So the Carolina Panthers, who their owner had interest in announcing here just a few weeks ago that he has decided to sell the team, but not until after the Panthers playoffs are over with, or them winning or losing the Super Bowl. Don't really see them making it to the Super Bowl, but The Panthers with Cam Newton always looking at making some excitement happen. So we're going to talk a little bit more NFL here later on here in the show. But while we're on that NASCAR twist, Rick Ware Racing acquires a Monster Energy NASCAR Cup Series charter for 2018. They announced that on earlier this month that they acquired a charter from a current Monster Energy NASCAR Cup Series team to utilize during the 2018 season. The acquisition of the charter signifies that Rick Ware Racing will compete full-time in the Cup Series next season with the number 51 entry beginning with the 60th annual Daytona 500 on Sunday, February 18th this coming year. The Thomasville, North Carolina-based team also plans to field an open car throughout the season with the number 52 entry. In addition to gaining a charter, RWR will have the continued support of major associate marketing partners in Lilly Trucking, Keen Building Systems, Bubba Burger, and Spoonful Music. Now, I'm only familiar with Bubba Burger. You go to Wally World, you can find Bubba Burgers in their boxes. They've got like, I think 10 of them in a box, and they're not bad. But I'm not familiar with the other corporate partners that they have there. Spoonful Music, I'm sure it's probably a regional chain of music stores or something. Additionally, RWR is upgrading their current 20,000 square foot shop to include updated equipment and personnel, including engineering support on and off the road. To help the team in on-track performance, the team will also be building and acquiring cars throughout the offseason and will have Chevrolet Camaros, Ford Fusions, and Toyota Camrys at their disposal throughout the season. So if they see that one manufacturer is not giving them the love and the support they need, well, they'll switch to another, I guess. It's unusual that you have all three NASCAR car manufacturers accessible to you like that. Even with the major teams, they are usually all Chevy, all Ford, or all Toyota. But for this team here, they've got all their bases covered. RWR plans to solidify new additional associate marketing partners as well over the next few weeks while finalizing their driver lineup for the number 51 charter and the number 52 open car in their immediate future. Now, while they're doing that, NASCAR is still waiting on Monster Energy to let them know whether they're going to continue as the series sponsor. 6 months ago, executives from NASCAR and Monster Energy spoke positively about their still new and developing relationship that saw the energy drink maker take over entitlement sponsorship duties from Sprint, which had the role from 2004 until 2 years ago. Both sides were optimistic. Monster would exercise a 2-year option and remain in the role through 2020 with a decision needed by the end of this month. In the months since, the bloom has fallen off the rose to some degree, and behind the scenes there isn't as much enthusiasm that Monster will re-up its deal. In fact, Monster not only asked for an extension of the December deadline until just after the first of the year, but also asked for a second extension until the spring. Multiple industry sources told SB Nation. NASCAR granted both requests, though. They quietly began identifying new and potential replacements in case Monster doesn't renew. Although Monster has its share of critics who feel more could be done related to television buys and at-track activation, the reality is the company has brought a much-needed fresh approach that has nudged NASCAR out of its comfort zone. And if Monster were to opt out, it places NASCAR in a precarious position for the second time in 3 years, where the search for an entitlement sponsor becomes a pervasive cloud hanging over the season that overshadows what's happening on the track. So I'm sure a lot of people are going to be watching that one. You know, I've said this on numerous occasions that it's not cheap to be in racing, even on the dirt track level here in a local sense. And, you know, when you're talking NASCAR title sponsorship, we're talking a lot of millions of dollars. You know, so we've got more coming for you here in the next half hour. We've got a break here, get you updated with all the latest news, weather and sports, and all that's coming your way here in just a little bit. Stay tuned. Don't forget the clutch to be on Rose. Coming up at 7 o'clock after CBS World National News here on Nooga Radio, 92.7 FM, 95.3 FM, HD4. Back in a moment.
The Tennessee Valley's news talk leader, Nooga Radio, digital FM 95.3 HD4 and 92.7 FM. Chattanooga Radio, digital FM 95.3 HD4, 92.7 FM's news now.
A house fire broke out in Hickson. It took about 20 minutes to put it out. It started at 8:45 p.m. when firefighters say that there was smoke pouring out of the roof of that building. The fire broke out on 780 Monroe Road. Fire damage estimated to cost about $30,000. A meeting has been announced between the Signal Mountain Town Council and the Hamilton County School Board. It'll be held on January the 4th at one of the schools on Signal Mountain, according to Mayor Chris Howley. He says the session will be to lay out our ideas. The next Town Council meeting is expected Monday, January the 8th, 4 days after this meeting between the Town Council and the School Board. The Signal Mountain School Viability Committee has been working for about a year to find out whether or not Signal Mountain can split off from the Hamilton County school system, which is something that the mayor has been looking at doing for about 2 years now. The Sean Hannity Show, weekdays 3 to 6. Russell Stroud, Radio News Talk 92.7 now.
The Tennessee Valley's news talk leader, Nooga Radio, digital FM 95.3 HD4 and 92.7 FM.
Sam Jordan, News Talk 92.7 Sports Now. Independence Bowl, New Era Pinstripe Bowl, the Foster Farms Bowl, and the Texas Bowl will be the bowl games that will be on tap for this Wednesday. And after last night's bowl games, the Heart of Dallas Bowl, Utah defeated West Virginia University 30-14. The Quick Lane Bowl had Duke winning that over Northern Illinois 36-14, and Kansas State winning over UCLA 35-17 in the Cactus Bowl. The application period for the Tennessee Wildlife Resource Agency 2017 Spring Turkey Quota Hunts is underway through January 17th of this coming year. Applications are available and will be accepted at any TWRA licensed agent, TWRA regional office, or online at the TWRA website. Applications can be accepted until midnight on January 17th. Mailed applications will not be accepted. Tune in tonight for Sports Talk with Sam Jordan from 6 to 7 p.m. and The Clutch with Keon Rose from 7 to 8. Sam Jordan, News Talk 92.7 Sports Now.
The Tennessee Valley's news talk leader, Nooga Radio, digital FM 95.3 HD4 and 92.7 FM.
Oh man, rush. I've got to get stuff for the party. Where can I go? It's going to give me a wide selection of beer, wines, and spirits. Oh, I got it. I'll go to Harry's Wine and Spirits, Signal Mountain. Maybe East Brainerd Wine and Spirits in East Brainerd. I could go to Riley's Wines and Spirits in Nixon. Wow, look at the huge selection in here. Look at these great prices. Amazing. Oh yeah, I'm going to find something from that lady too. I'm going to make this party a success.
Make your party a success when you stop in at Harry's Wine and Spirits in Signal Mountain, East Brainerd Wine and Spirits in East Brainerd, and Riley's Wine and Spirits in Hickson. An automated nuclear missile defense system has suddenly entered into launch mode, and you are the only one who can stop it.
Escape Experience Chattanooga.
Your team has just been infected with a deadly virus. Your only hope? There, in an abandoned farmhouse.
Escape Experience Chattanooga.
Handcuffed in a maximum security prison, you have an hour to flee.
Escape Experience Chattanooga.
These escape scenarios and more at Chattanooga's best escape room game and team building platform. Call now. Slots are limited. Register online at escapeexperience.com/Chattanooga. Escape Experience Chattanooga.
If your computer is running slow, if you have viruses, if someone called you asking to get into your computer, just say no. If a screen pops up on your computer saying your data is going to be deleted and you have to call this number, don't call it. You need to call Affordable Computers. You wouldn't invite a stranger to come into your house to look at all your books and records. So why would you invite someone to look at your records on your computer? With one wrong click of the mouse, you could be allowing access into your entire system. At Affordable Computers, we can stop them now. Don't be fooled by scammers and pop-ups that tell you must call this number or your hard drive is going to be deleted. You need to call Affordable Computers. Call Affordable Computers now. Microsoft is never going to call you. Microsoft is never going to ask you to call them. If you see that on your screen, you are being scammed. Stop and call Affordable Computers, 423-499-1975. That's 423-499-1975. In Fort Oglethorpe, call 706-858-5888. That's 706-858-5888. Affordable Computers.
Broadcasting live to over 1 million souls in Chattanooga, the Tennessee Valley, and beyond on frequency modulation 92.7. Sean Hannity, 25,000 watts on digital FM 95.3 HD4. CBS Radio News, NASCAR, Bloomberg Markets, David Tulis, streaming strong at Noogaradio.com. Live on YouTube and Facebook. Nooga Radio, News Talk 92.7. Chattanooga Radio.
Sports Talk with Sam Jordan back here with you on Nooga Radio 92.7 FM, 95.3 FM HD4. We're on YouTube only tonight, besides on NoogaRadio.com, and of course over the air at our two fine FM locations. Good evening to you. Whether you're here in the Chattanooga area, Tennessee Valley, or the world, you can always find a place to go and find Sports Talk with Sam Jordan. Coming up after World News and CBS News Roundup is The Clutch with Keon Rose. And I know he's all excited. He just exudes that excitement every time he walks in the door. So we'll be continuing that sports discussion throughout. Just a little bit of an update. The Independence Bowl got over just a little while ago. Florida State defeated Southern Miss 42-13. Right now, just approaching the half. The New Era Pinstripe Bowl, Boston College is leading Iowa 14-10. Coming up later tonight at 8:30, the Foster Farms Bowl with Arizona and Purdue. That's on Fox. And at 9 o'clock on ESPN, the Texas Bowl with Texas and Missouri. Those will be getting underway. NBA games going on tonight. There's quite a few. Boston is at Charlotte. Dallas is at Indianapolis. The Knicks are in Chicago to take on the Bulls. Cleveland at Sacramento. The Grizzlies out of Memphis are at the Forum, or the Staples Center, I guess, now, taking on the LA Lakers. Utah at Golden State. That'd be an interesting contest there. Utah and Golden State. Same would go with Boston and Charlotte. I've always, even when I lived over in the Little Rock area back in, childhood up through the mid 80s before heading to the great Midwest and into the Northeast, always followed the Boston Celtics. I always enjoyed them. I rooted for them over the Lakers. I mean, the Lakers were the cat's meow. Because, Magic Johnson and Kareem Abdul-Jabbar, James Worthy, some of the great ones that were on that Lakers squad. But Larry Bird, Nate Archibald, a lot of those grew up and in watching the Celtics teams of the 60s and the 70s with Havlicek and all those. They were just gritty, average guys. And so I've always fell in love with the Celtics. That's the only Boston team that I will root for. Patriots, forget it. Red Sox, if they're playing the Yankees, then I'll root for the Red Sox. But other than that, nah. Celtics, yes, we'll root for them all the time. I'm just wondering when the day is going to come when Nashville gets an NBA team. They've already got the Preds with hockey. They got Major League Soccer that's coming to Nashville here in the next couple of years. Nashville is a big enough town that I think that they could sustain a major franchise like that and be a relevant team as well. But I really don't see the NBA expanding like that. But while we're talking about the Preds, they're on the road tonight at St. Louis. So Nashville and St. Louis, that's a good rivalry there that's really blossomed. Another good one is the Columbus Blue Jackets and at the Igloo in Pittsburgh. taking on the Penguins, the defending Stanley Cup champs. Detroit, New Jersey, that's another good matchup. Detroit, I would give the advantage to on that one. Ottawa is at Boston to take on the Bruins. Washington Capitals at the New York Rangers. And then you got Vegas, the upstart Vegas Black Knights, taking on the Mighty Ducks from Anaheim in NHL action. I'm surprised I haven't heard from Sam Jordan III because of holidays. He may be busy or whatever, but with the Preds playing tonight in St. Louis, I thought I would have heard from him, but for whatever reason, we'll capture him some other point. Don't forget, we'll try to get you updated with some of the scores later on as the NCAA football continues on. Now, you may have heard me talking about throughout the day, and I've mentioned this once before, but I know that there's a lot of turkeys out there. And the application period for the Tennessee Wildlife Resource Agency spring turkey quota hunts is underway through January 17th of 2018. So if you're going to want to hunt spring turkey season, you'll need to go to any TWRA licensed agent or the regional office for TWRA, or go online at the TWRA website. They're accepted until midnight on January 17th, 2018. Mailed applications will not be accepted. So the areas available for the hunts are listed on the instruction sheets. Hunters have up to 14 choices, but we will be drawn for only one. Applicants may not use the same hunt code more than once. Total 14 hunts listed and 3 youth-only hunts. No person may apply more than once. Youth hunters ages 6 to 16 by the date of the hunt may submit one application for the regular quota hunt, one application for the youth-only quota hunt. Permit fee will not be charged to annual sportsmen, lifetime sportsmen, license holders, or seniors with an annual senior sportsman license. For all other license holders, the cost is $12 per permit plus the agent fee. When applying at a licensed agent, hunters must remain at the location while the application is processed. Hunters will receive a receipt with a confirmation number when the application is completed. Hunters with internet access may apply for a spring turkey quota hunt online by visiting Quota Hunt, and that's QUOTAHUNT Tennessee, and Tennessee spelled out, .com/hunt/customer-lookup.aspx. Application period begins, which is already underway. Once the internet site has been accessed, hunters can follow the on-screen directions. The 2018 statewide turkey season is March 31st through May 13th. Statewide young sportsman hunt is March 24th and 25th only. So there's a lot of information on that website for you to go and review as well. Now, one thing I didn't get to talk about over the last day that because I didn't do my show yesterday, but Keon Rose filled in quite well for me. I did call in and talk a little with UTC, as far as with basketball and stuff. But the Mocs athletic department mourning the loss of Coach Harold Wilkes, who was the former football coach and athletic director, alumnus, and a friend to many. He passed away this past Saturday at the age of 85, and he left an impressionable mark on the Mocs athletic program very deeply. He started as a student athlete playing for College Football Hall of Famer Scrappy Moore, helping lead the 1958 team to its win over Tennessee, and later joined Moore's staff working with him until his retirement following the 1967 season, leading University Chattanooga to its natural next step. Coach Wilkes guided the Mocs football program from 1968 to 1972, bridging the gap between legendary Moore and Joe Morrison. Hosting a 20-33 record in those 5 seasons, 68 squad was one of the best in school history. And it went 9-1 with its only loss coming at the hands of Archie Manning's Ole Miss squad, 38-16. He took over as athletic director in 1970, 2 years after coming aboard as the head coach, and stayed on as the head coach for 2 more years while being the athletic director. And that is not an easy task. I've mentioned here in the past, Coach Frank Broyles, who recently died over in Arkansas, was the head coach for many years for the Razorback program. And then he took over the athletic director duties. And it became apparent after a while that trying to do both and do it well does not work. And so with Coach Wilkes, he did head coaching and the athletic director duties for 2 years, and finally says, all right, I got to pick one or the other. And he ended up holding the position of athletic director for 20 years. And according to the release from the Mocs program, oversaw the largest growth in athletics at UTC in school history after winning an NCAA Division II national championship in basketball and finishing runner-up in wrestling. The Mocs transitioned to Division I status in the 1977-78 season. Football joined the NCAA Division I AA ranks in 1978, and many programs flourished in the SoCon under that tenure. Women's tennis captured 6 national titles from 1977 to 85, while the men won 10 Southern Conference titles during that tenure. Wrestling continued that success at the Division I level, winning the SoCon 11 times and tying for 14th at the 1983 NCAA tournament. Women's basketball claimed 4 SoCon titles and advanced to the NCAA tournament for the first time in 1989. Men's basketball made a national name even after its national championship with a move to D1. Coach Wilkes hired 2 head coaches during his tenure, Murray Arnold and Mac McCarthy, combining for 7 SoCon championships and 4 NCAA tournament appearances, with the 1982 team coming within a whisker of the Sweet 16, defeating NC State the year prior to its Cinderella run. He oversaw the move into the 11,000-plus seat Roundhouse in 1983, later renamed McKenzie Arena. So, it's unfortunate to see such a dear man that has meant a lot to a lot of people and, make such a huge impact like he has over the years, and will be greatly missed here in the Chattanooga area with his accomplishments that he has shown throughout the years, and being a very close friend and confidant to many here in the area. Let's see. Lady Mocs, they had lost in the Gator Holiday Classic. They are going to be getting back into action tomorrow. When they return to the court, they'll be hosting Hampton at the Roundhouse at 2 o'clock. Tickets are on sale at the McKenzie Arena box office and online at gomocs.com. So, want to watch some good basketball? Go and help support the Lady Mocs in their efforts. The Lady Mocs is now 8-5 overall. So let's get behind the Lady Mocs and help them as they take on their opponent in Hampton tomorrow. Nothing going on tomorrow afternoon. It's a holiday break. Nobody's working except for us clowns here named Sam and Keon, and maybe Russell. Yeah, Russell's the biggest clown. You ought to see his clown feet. I'm just kidding. I like picking on Russell. He's a good guy. All the people here at Nooga Radio are great to work with. 423-800-8949. 423-800-8949. What do you think is in the future for UT football with a lot of these signings that they've had? Now, Tennessee also got Dominic Wood Anderson, tight end, number 8 JUCO recruit in the country to sign, 6'5", 245-pounder. And then Jordan Allen, a defensive end, who's ranked number 20 in the country, 6'4", 230-pounder, to come aboard as part of the many recruits that Tennessee was able to acquire in the short period that Jeremy Pruitt has been able to search and scour across the Southeast and throughout the United States and trying to bring some top quality talent to get Tennessee football back into the level of play that it's so been known for. I mean, it's been a while, but I'm telling you what, I think the more and more that I keep seeing stories about Jeremy Pruitt, I mean, it's kind of like making him into a legend before he's even coached his first game as a head coach. But we'll see. I mean, spring football will give us a little bit of an indication. Probably a lot of excitement, but it will be interesting to see. And you know what? Tom Arth and the Tennessee Chattanooga Mocs, they had some good quality signings. They've had a couple coaches that have left for bigger programs. They're at Kent State, and they've been able to promote from within to elevate some of those coaches and reward them for jobs well done and giving them additional duties. And it was a pleasure to have Coach Arth on the radio with us here last week. In fact, last Friday, talking about the Mocs and where they're headed, into the 2018 season. I mean, yeah, football season is pretty much over for most colleges around the country. But I tell you what, it's never a quiet moment. Yeah, you might get a week or two to kind of catch your breath, and then it's time to get started and working on the 2018 class. And they've been working on that rather extensively. Chattanooga Football Club, they're really ramping up here, getting ready. They're kind of in that quiet time right now with the holidays, but after the first of the year, they've got Dallas that's going to be coming to Finley Stadium for a big CFC showdown, exhibition match, kind of seeing where they need to improve with their acquisitions and their talents that they've got on that team. It's the last year for being an amateur football club. And then next year they go pro. So they will be moving up. And as we told you earlier, Nashville is going to be a Major League Soccer franchise. And, whether or not Chattanooga is going to be working hand in hand with Nashville remains to be seen. You would think, that would be a viable option to talk about. So, with the NBA playing, NFL football played on Christmas. The Steelers, they were able to win their contest. And while we're talking Steelers quickly, and I know this is Titans country and Falcons country, but Pittsburgh, I think, made a mistake. They waived James Harrison, number 92. And he's only ever played with Cincinnati and Pittsburgh. And he gets waived, and who picks him up? The Patriots. The Ravens wanted to take a quick snatch at him. I mean, Ravens has not got a chance to do anything in the playoffs, so can't blame Harrison for going to the Patriots. Could be one of his final hurrahs, but I'm telling you what, for what he does on the field as well as off the field, Patriots really did something major. So that could come back to haunt Pittsburgh, because it could possibly be a third meeting between the Patriots and the Steelers. And seeing Harrison over in that white, blue, and red for New England, that's going to be tough to fight. But Mike Tomlin, I think, ought to find a different job somewhere. I just think Pittsburgh really needs to make a change. All right, a lot of games coming up here, week 17 with no Thursday night games, and there is not going to be a Sunday night football game because when they made the schedule, they didn't think about New Year's Eve and all the different things going on in the major networks, and like with ABC and Fox, and NBC, had their plans, what they were wanting to do, but Al Michaels and Chris Collinsworth and Michelle Tafoya gets the week off. But there are some interesting matchups, and we'll be talking more about that here as we get closer to the weekend. Keon Rose is coming up here in just a few moments, so stick around. Once again, Florida State defeated Southern Miss 42-13 in the Independence Bowl. You are a Pinstripe Bowl going on 14-10. Boston College leading Iowa. Try to get you an update or a final score reported in tomorrow's sports updates. But Arizona's at Purdue at 8:30. Texas at Missouri at 9. And we're getting ready to wrap up a Wednesday night edition of Sports Talk with Sam Jordan here on Nooga Radio, 92.7 FM, 95.3 FM HD4. Until tomorrow, have a great evening. Talk to you soon. Bye.
Tennessee Valley's news talk leader, Nooga Radio, digital FM 95.3 HD4 and 92.7 FM. Chattanooga, Nooga Radio, digital FM 95.3 HD4, 92.7 FM's news now.
A meeting has been announced between the Signal Mountain Town Council and the Hamilton County School Board. It'll be held on January the 4th at one of the schools on Signal Mountain, according to Mayor Chris Howley. He says the session will be to lay out our ideas. The next town council meeting is expected Monday, January the 8th, 4 days after this meeting between the town council and the school board. The Signal Mountain School Viability Committee has been working for about a year to find out whether or not Signal Mountain can split off from the Hamilton County school system, which is something that the mayor has been looking at doing for about 2 years now. A house fire broke out in Hickson. It took about 20 minutes to put it out. It started at 8:45 p.m. when firefighters say that there was smoke pouring out of the roof of that building. The fire broke out on 780 Monroe Road. Fire damage estimated to cost about $30,000. The Sean Hannity Show, weekdays 3 to 6. Russell Stroud, Radio News Talk 92.7. Now.
Expect fair skies again, 23 or nighttime. Quite cold overnight, lows 20 to 23. For Thursday, some sunshine, but highs will struggle to reach the lower 40s. Back into the 20s tomorrow night. Into the 40s again Friday, turning even colder for the second half of the New Year's weekend. Experience the magic of the holidays with Rock City's enchanted garden of lights. Create your one-of-a-kind adventure with dazzling views and almost a million colorful lights. Visit See Rock City for all of the magical details. And I'm Soar Team 12 Chief Meteorologist Patrick Moore. Not making the money you deserve or need an exciting change? If you have radio sales experience, contact me about joining our terrific team here at 92.7 Nooga Radio. We are a hot get-up-and-go multimedia platform. Creative people, aggressive ideas. On our team, you'll have a wide-open marketplace of all the best accounts. I'm David. Call me at 401-0211. That's 401-0211. Great commissions, excellent prospects, 401-0211.
The Tennessee Valley's news talk leader, Nooga Radio, digital FM 95.3 HD4 and 92.7 FM.
Hi, this is Sonia with the Mountain Oaks Weddings Events and Tea Room in Ooltewah, located in the former James County Courthouse. Go back in style when you're planning your next event. Mountain Oaks is the full-service wedding venue and catering facility. No fuss, no mess, no cleanup when you schedule your next special event with Mountain Oaks. Leave the planning and the work to the experts, but take all the credit for your wonderful event. Call me, Sonia, at Mountain Oaks today at 423-238-9333 and leave the word to us.
423-238-9333 or stop by our location on Church Street in Ooltewah.
The perfect present for the perfect someone. No one can do it better than us at Goss Company Jewelers. If this is really important to you, if this gift is important to you, get on your feet and get in the store. I'll take care of you.
Goss Company Jewelers on Gun Barrel Road behind Chili's.
Pulse Centers of Chattanooga offers non-medical solutions to your body's problems using a state-of-the-art technology called pulsed electromagnetic fields, PEMF for short. We help fuel the body's natural healing response. If you're tired of taking harmful, addictive drugs that only dull your pain and cause awful side effects, the knowledgeable, friendly staff at the Pulse Centers can help you end that cycle.
Call to schedule a free whole body assessment at 423-771-7755. That's 423-771-7755.
Looking for an easy way to give back this holiday season? The Chattanooga Ronald McDonald House has a need. They offer a hospitality card that gives out refreshments to tired parents at Children's Hospital at Erlanger. It's very low on snacks like peanut butter crackers and snack cakes. If you're able to donate, please bring all donations to the Ronald McDonald House at 200 Central Avenue, any day of the week between 9 a.m. to 9 p.m. For more info, visit rmhchattanooga.com.
95.3 HD4, 92.7 FM. Nooga Radio, digital FM 95.3 HD4 and 92.7 FM knows your opinion is important. So call 800-8949. Agree or disagree. Call 423-800-8949. 800-8949. Nooga Radio, 92.7 FM and 95.3 HD4. News Talk, Nooga Radio.
WLZHD Formula 224AZ Chattanooga
92.7 Digital FM 95.3 HD4 Chattanooga.
5 feet on the ground and counting.
A snow emergency is in effect in Erie, Pennsylvania.
An Arctic chill grips the northern U.S.
Everything freezes. It's horrible.
This is the CBS World News Roundup Late Edition. I'm Pam Coulter. Make it stop. That's what many are saying about the snow in Erie, Pennsylvania.
I'm 62 years old, and this is the worst snowstorm I have ever experienced in my life.
CBS's DeMarco Morgan is there.
A winter blast out to the record 53 inches of snow in less than 36 hours. Snow is piling up on the roads, burying cars and bringing traffic to a halt. Emergency Management Coordinator Matt Exley says plow drivers are working around the clock to clear the streets.
We have all of our plow crews out. They've been doing a fantastic job with the elements that have been out there. That's really hard to keep up with this amount of snow.
City officials are not sure when they'll be out of that state of emergency, but they are asking everyone to stay inside until crews clear the streets.
And people are bundling up from Wisconsin to Maine.
People living in the northern part of the Badger State are used to very cold weather, but when temperatures fall to 15 or 20 below, it's tough to cope.
It's brutal with the wind.
I don't like it.
Rather be in Florida, there's no doubt.
This man is trying to be philosophical about the cold wave.
I've been up here for 45 years. You just go with the flow.
This cold wave is expected to let up Thursday, when the high temperature could reach 5 above. Bruce Marcus for CBS News, St. Germain, Wisconsin.
The National Weather Service's Bob Oravec expects the cold to be around for a while.
It looks like over the next week or so, the cold temperatures are going to be pretty persistent, anywhere from each of the Rockies into the Northeast.
President Trump is gathering GOP congressional leaders next month to hammer out a 2018 agenda. CBS's Stephen Portnoy.
The Camp David meetings, scheduled for the end of the first week in January, are aimed at getting the president and GOP congressional leaders on the same page at the start of the midterm election year. President Trump has said he wants to focus on infrastructure in 2018. House Speaker Paul Ryan would like to tackle entitlement reform. But the first order of business for lawmakers is a government spending bill to avoid a shutdown on January 19th.
With a new tax bill capping property tax deductions at $10,000, lots of Americans are rushing to prepay their taxes, including in Fairfax County, Virginia. County revenue officials Scott Sizemore.
This is unprecedented for us. We have 10 or 15 people in line throughout the day. At this point, we've seen hundreds and hundreds of people in line.
There were modest gains on Wall Street. The Dow was up 28, NASDAQ ahead 3. Now this.
CBS News Radio, honored with the prestigious Edward R. Murrow Award for Overall Excellence. Original reporting right here on CBS News Radio.
Peekaboo, peekaboo, smile.
Smile, buddy.
Come on, smile. Oh, honey, he's still not smiling.
Maybe he's not a smiler.
Yeah, maybe he's just not a happy baby.
Maybe he's just being a boy. You know how boys are.
Or maybe he's teething. Oh, poor baby. I think his gums hurt.
Maybe he's just tired.
Or maybe his tummy hurts. He didn't eat that much.
Maybe he's not ticklish.
You think maybe he's scared of the dog?
Maybe he'll outgrow it. Maybe it's a phase. Maybe he just doesn't like smiling.
Maybe he has autism. And we can definitely do something to help.
Maybe is all you need to find out more about autism. No big, joyful smiles by 6 months is one early sign. Learn the others at autismspeaks.org/signs or see a doctor today for an autism screening. The sooner it's diagnosed, the better. And it can make a lifetime of difference. Brought to you by Autism Speaks and the Ad Council.
ISIS is on the ropes in Iraq and Syria, but coalition officials say the job's not done yet.
In Iraq, ISIS fighters are hiding among the public, and the U.S.-led coalition can't predict how dangerous an insurgency they could become. In Syria, the coalition is taking out fleeing ISIS fighters in areas where its partner forces have control, but not elsewhere. British General Felix Gedney.
They seem to be moving with impunity through regime-held territory, showing that the regime is clearly either unwilling or unable to defeat Daesh within their borders.
Cami McCormick, CBS News, Washington.
The Pentagon is not commenting on a lawsuit by New York City, San Francisco, and Philadelphia that claims the military failed to report significant numbers of records to the National Background Check System that would have prevented gun purchases. That failure allowed a former Air Force member to buy a rifle and kill 26 people at a Texas church. You're listening to the CBS World News.
The Tennessee Valley's news talk leader, Nooga Radio, digital FM 95.3 HD4 and 92.7 FM. Chattanooga Radio, digital FM 95.3 HD4, 92.7 FM's news now.
A meeting has been announced between the Signal Mountain Town Council and the Hamilton County School Board. It'll be held on January the 4th at one of the schools on Signal Mountain, according to Mayor Chris Howley. He says the session will be to lay out our ideas. The next town council meeting is expected Monday, January the 8th, 4 days after this meeting between the town council and the school board. The Signal Mountain School Viability Committee has been working for about a year to find out whether or not Signal Mountain can split off from the Hamilton County school system, which is something that the mayor has been looking at doing for about 2 years now. A house fire broke out in Hickson. It took about 20 minutes to put it out. It started at 8:45 p.m. when firefighters say that there was smoke pouring out of the roof of that building. The fire broke out on 780 Monroe Road. Fire damage estimated to cost about $30,000. The Sean Hannity Show, weekdays 3 to 6. Russell Stroud, Radio News Talk 92.7 now.
95.3 HD4, 92.7 FM.